morning, everyone. My friends, I love you guys, and I came here today with one mission to shake you up a little bit. You see, too many people go around telling the world, oh, life is so hard. You have no idea what I'm going through. And get it, life is tough. But let me tell you something, your circumstances don't define you, your decisions do. Some of you are walking around with your problems like they're a badge of honor. I'm struggling, I'm broke. Nobody understands me. My friend, listen to me. If you keep telling the same sad story, you're going to keep living in it. I was once there too. I had every excuse to complain. I could have sat in a corner blaming the world, waiting for someone to feel sorry for me. But here's the truth, self-pity never changed a life. Complaining never built a future. And excuses never took anyone to the next level. My friends, listen to me, your words have power. More power than you realize. Some people wake up every day and the first thing they do is talk about how bad things are. They tell everyone life is unfair, I can't catch a break, nobody understands me, and on and on. And I get it. Sometimes life does hit hard. Sometimes it feels like everything is stacked against you. But let me ask you, what good has it done you to keep repeating that? See, when you keep talking about your struggles, when you keep telling the same sad story over and over, you don't just remind yourself of the pain, you relive it. You reinforce it. You make it part of your identity. And once you start believing that your problems define you, you stop believing that you have the power to change them. I used to wonder why my life wasn't changing. I was frustrated. I thought if people could just understand how hard this is, maybe they'd feel sorry for me. Maybe they'd help me. But then I realized something, feeling sorry for yourself doesn't move you forward. You can tell the whole world about your problems, but at the end of the day, only you can decide to change your life. The more you talk about what's wrong, the more you stay focused on it. And whatever you focus on, you give power to. If you keep telling yourself, I'll never be happy, then guess what? You're going to stop believing it. If you keep saying, I'll never succeed, you won't even try. You're programming your mind to stay exactly where you are. But what if instead you change the story? What if instead of saying, I have nothing, you started saying, I have everything I need to begin? What if instead of saying, I'm stuck, you started saying, I am stepping into something greater? What if instead of talking about what's going wrong, you started talking about what's possible? I know it's not easy. I know some of you are facing things that feel impossible to overcome. But you have two choices. You can keep repeating the pain, or you can start speaking the breakthrough. You can keep telling yourself why life is hard, or you can start telling yourself why you're strong enough to get through it. Your words will either chain you to your past or free you for your future. And I don't know about you, but I choose freedom. I choose hope. I choose to speak life, to speak strength, to speak victory. Because my story is not over, and neither is yours. So from today, no more repeating the struggle, no more reinforcing the pain. It's time to change the words you speak so you can change the life you live. My friends, I need you to hear me on this. Complaining will never change your situation. It won't move you forward, it won't open new doors, and it won't bring you the breakthrough you're waiting for. Complaining does one thing, and one thing only, keeps you stuck. I know life can be tough. I know there are days when you feel like nothing is working, when you look around and think, why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why does life seem easier for everyone else? And when we feel that way, it's easy to start talking about it over and over again. Life is unfair. Nothing ever works out for me. People don't understand my struggles. We say to our friends, we post about it online, we replay it in our minds. And the more we say it, the more real it feels. But here's the truth, complaining never built a future. Complaining never solved a problem. Complaining never turned a dream into reality. You can talk all day about what's wrong, but if you don't take action, nothing will change. You see, there are two types of people in this world, those who talk about their problems and those who do something about them. Some people sit around blaming their circumstances, their past, their family, their boss, their country, the economy, everything and everyone except themselves. They waste energy focusing on what's wrong instead of using that energy to make things right. And then there are the ones who take action. They refuse to be victims of life. They may be struggling, but instead of complaining, they're learning. Instead of blaming, they're finding solutions. Instead of waiting for someone to save them, they're stepping up and making a change. You might say, but you don't understand what I'm going through. And maybe I don't. Maybe your situation is tough, but let me ask you this, will complaining about it make it any better? We'll talk about the same problems every day, suddenly make them disappear. No. If anything, it makes them feel bigger. But when you take action, even in small ways, something shifts, you regain control. You start to see new possibilities. I remember a time in my life when I felt stuck. I kept saying, I wish things were different. I wish I had more opportunities. I wish life was easier. But wishing wasn't getting me anywhere. It wasn't until I decided to stop talking and start doing that things began to change. I stopped focusing on what I didn't have and started using what I did have. I stopped waiting for things to get better and started making them better. And that's what you have to do. If you're not happy with your life, change it. If you don't like where you are, take a step in a new direction. If you're tired of struggling, start looking for solutions instead of repeating the problem. Stop saying, I can't, and start asking, how can I? Stop saying, it's impossible, and start saying, what can I do right now to make progress? Your future is not determined by how much you complain. It's determined by how much action you take. So today I challenge you, stop talking about what's wrong, stop focusing on what you can't change, and start taking control of what you can. Because your life is waiting for you to step up and make it better. My friends, you are not your problems. You are not your failures. You are not the pain you've been through. But if you keep defining yourself by your struggles, you'll never step into the life that's waiting for you. I've seen so many people carry their past like a name tag. They introduce themselves by their pain. I'm the one who's always struggling. I'm the one who was abandoned. I'm the one who never gets a break. And after saying it enough times, they start believing it. They start living like it's true. But let me tell you something, your challenges may have shaped you, but they don't define you. Maybe you've been hurt. Maybe you've been rejected. Maybe life has knocked you down more times than you can count. And I know it's hard. I know it feels like those moments leave a mark on you that never goes away. But listen, what happened to you is not who you are. What you've been through is not the end of your story. Too many people stay trapped in a cycle of pain, not because they can't move forward, but because they've convinced themselves that they are their struggle. They say, I'm broken, instead of I've been through brokenness, but I'm healing. They say, I'm a failure, instead of I've failed, but I'm learning. Do you see the difference? One keeps you chained to the past. The other sets you free to build a new future. You can't move forward while holding on to a label that tells you you're stuck. If you keep saying, I'll never be good enough, you'll never try to be better. If you keep saying, I'm always going to struggle, you won't look for opportunities to grow. Your words matter. Your mindset matters. And if you don't let go of the identity you've created around your pain, you'll never step into your purpose. It's time to change the story. It's time to see yourself for who you really are, not a victim of life, not a product of your past, but a person with a future, a person with potential, a person who can rise above anything. You are not weak. You are not defeated. You are not your struggles. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you know. And if you decide today to stop carrying the weight of your past as your identity, you will finally step into the life you were meant to live. My friends, you are not your struggles. You are not your pain. You are not the things that have happened to you. But if you keep defining yourself by your problems, you will never step into the life that's waiting for you. I see so many people who have allowed their past, their failures, or their hardships to become their identity. They don't just talk about what they've been through, they build their whole life around it. They introduce themselves with their pain. I'm the one who always messes up. I'm the one who was abandoned. I'm the one who can never catch a break. And the more they say it, the more real it feels. The more they repeat it, the more they believe it. And once they believe it, they live like it's true. But listen to me, you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the things that tried to break you. Yes, you may have been through hardships, but that is not who you are. Your identity is not your struggle. Your identity is not your pain. Your identity is in who you choose to become. I know it's hard. I know when you face disappointment over and over, it feels like nothing will ever change. I know when people have hurt you, it's easy to believe that you're unworthy of love. I know when you failed, it's tempting to think you'll never succeed. But you have a choice. You can either let your struggles define you, or you can decide that you are more than what has happened to you. Too many people stay stuck in a cycle of pain, not because they can't move forward, but because they've convinced themselves that their past is their destiny. They say, I've always been this way, this is just my life, I'll never be good enough. But let me ask you, what if that's not true? What if you've been believing a lie? What if the only thing keeping you from your breakthrough is the story you keep telling yourself? Your words matter. Your mindset matters. If you keep calling yourself a failure, you will never try to win. If you keep saying you're broken, you will never believe you can heal. If you keep repeating the pain of the past, you will never step into the promise of the future. But you can change the story. You can decide right now that you will no longer be defined by your struggles. You can decide that even though you've been knocked down, you will rise again. You can decide that your past is a lesson, not a label. Start speaking a new identity over yourself. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, say, I'm learning and growing. Instead of saying, I'm broken, say, I'm healing and becoming stronger. Instead of saying, I'll never make it, say, I am stepping into something greater. Because the truth is, you are not your struggles. You are not your pain. You are not your failures. You are stronger than you think, more capable than you know, and more worthy than you believe. And when you stop letting your struggles define you, you will finally step into the life you were meant to live. My friends, if you want to change your life, you have to stop making excuses. You have to stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect conditions because they may never come. Excuses don't build a future, decisions do. I've met so many people who have big dreams, big goals, and big ideas, but year after year they stay exactly where they are. And when you ask them why, they have a reason. I don't have time. I wasn't born into the right family. I don't have the right connections. I don't have the resources. The list goes on and on. But let me tell you something, there will always be a reason why you can't do something. But all you need is one reason why you must. Excuses keep you stuck. They make you feel powerless. The more you say, I can't, the more you convince yourself that it's true. And once you start believing that, you stop trying. But what if you made a different decision? What if instead of saying, I don't have what it takes, you said, I will figure it out? What if instead of saying it's too late, you said, now is the time? What if instead of making an excuse, you made a move? I know some of you are thinking, but you don't understand my situation. Maybe I don't. Maybe life has been harder for you than for others. Maybe you faced things that weren't fair. But I also know this, there is always someone with less who has done more. There is always someone who faced bigger obstacles and still found a way. The difference between them and everyone else is not luck, not talent, not resources, it's a decision. A decision to keep going. A decision to stop making excuses. A decision to take responsibility for their own life. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you the life you dream of. You have to decide that no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fall, you will keep moving forward. Because the truth is, you don't need the perfect conditions. You don't need every answer. You don't need to have it all figured out. All you need is the decision to start. Excuses might feel comfortable, but they won't take you anywhere. So today I challenge you, let go of every reason why you can't and start focusing on the one reason why you must. Because your future is not waiting for excuses, it's waiting for you to decide. My friends, your words have power. What you say about your life, what you'll lay about your future will shape the direction you go. Too many people spend their time talking about what's wrong, what they've lost, what they can't do. But if all you do is talk about your struggles, how will you ever move beyond them? Some people don't even realize they've trapped themselves in a cycle of negativity. Every conversation is about their problems. Every thought is focused on their limitations. I'm stuck. I'll never succeed. Things will never get better. And before they know it, they start living out those words. Not because they're incapable of change, but because they've convinced themselves it's impossible. But here's the truth, where your words go, your life follows. If you keep telling yourself you're stuck, you'll never look for a way out. If you keep saying you're broken, you'll never believe in your healing. If you keep speaking doubt over your future, you'll never take the steps to grow. Your words are like seeds, and whatever you plant will grow. So what if instead of telling the same story of struggle, you started telling a new story of victory? What if you stopped talking about where you've been and started talking about where you're going? What if instead of focusing on what's wrong, you started declaring what's possible? I know some of you are thinking, but my situation is real. My struggles are real. Yes, they are, but so is your potential. So is your strengths. So is your ability to rise up and step into something greater. And you won't get there by focusing on what's holding you back. You'll get there by focusing on where you're headed. Start speaking words that push you forward instead of holding you back. Instead of saying, I'll never make it, say, I am capable and I am growing every day. Instead of saying, nothing ever works out for me, say, I am stepping into new opportunities. Instead of saying, I'll always struggle, say, I am building a better future. Because the moment you change your words, you change your mindset. And the moment you change your mindset, you change your life. You don't have to keep repeating the same old story. You don't have to stay stuck in the same place. You have the power to rewrite your future, and it starts with the words you choose to speak today. My friends, I know there are moments in life when it feels like your past is too heavy to carry. You look back and see all the mistakes, all the failures, all the times you were hurt, and you wonder if you'll ever move beyond it. But hear me now, your past may have shaped you, but it does not have to define you. Too many people walk around letting their past dictate their future. They believe that because they've been broken before, they can never be whole. Because they failed before, they will always fail. Because someone hurt them, they will always carry that pain. And they don't even realize they're living under a label they were never meant to wear. Maybe you've been rejected, abandoned, overlooked. Maybe life didn't turn out the way you thought it would. And now every time you try to move forward, that voice creeps in, you'll never change. This is just who you are. You'll never be enough. But let me tell you something, that voice is lying to you. Your past is a chapter in your story, but it is not the whole book. What happened before does not control what happens next unless you let it. You can't change what's behind you, but you can decide what's ahead of you. You can choose to let go of the shame, the regret, the fear. You can choose to break free from the mindset that tells you you're stuck, because the truth is you are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not what people did to you. You are stronger than that. You are greater than that. And if you want to step into the future waiting for you, you've stopped letting the past hold you back. So today, make a decision. Decide to believe that you are more than your history. Decide to rise above the things that tried to break you. Decide to walk forward even when it's hard, even the past whispers to you. Because where you're going is far greater than where you've been, and your best days are still ahead. My friends, where your focus goes, your life follows. If you spend all your time thinking about what's wrong, what you don't have, and what's holding you back, you will always feel stuck. But if you shift your focus to what's possible, what's ahead, and what you can do, your whole life will start moving in a new direction. I've met so many people who are constantly focused on their problems. Every conversation is about their struggles. Every thought is about their pain. Every day they wake up thinking about what's missing, what's unfair, and what's impossible. And the more they focus on those things, the bigger they become. The struggles feel heavier. The pain feels deeper. The obstacles seem larger than life, and eventually they stop believing anything can change. But let me tell you something, what you focus on grows. If you focus on fear, fear will control you. If you focus on failure, you will never take a risk. If you focus on what you can't do, you'll never realize what you can. But the moment you shift your focus, something incredible happens. You start to see possibilities instead of limitations. You start to find solutions instead of excuses. You start to believe in yourself instead of doubting everything. You may not have control over everything that happens in life, but you do have control over where you put your focus. And that one decision can change everything. Because when you focus on growth, you start growing. When you focus on opportunities, you start finding them. When you focus on what's ahead instead of what's behind, you start moving forward. I know some of you are thinking, but my situation is real. My struggles are real. And you're right. I'm not saying to ignore your problems. I'm saying to stop letting them define you. A problem is only permanent if you keep staring at it, giving it power and making it your identity. But when you shift your focus to the solution, you take back control. Think about the people who inspire you. The ones who overcame impossible odds, the ones who didn't let their circumstances stop them. Do you think they never had struggles? Of course they did. The difference is they didn't focus on what was against them, they focused on what was possible. They didn't waste their energy complaining, they used it to take action. And that's what you have to do. So today I challenge you, stop looking at the closed doors and start looking for the open ones. Stop focusing on what's missing and start using what you have. Stop replaying your failures and start preparing for your success. Because your life will always move in the direction of your focus, and where you're headed is far more important than where you've been. My friends, life is moving forward whether you're ready or not. The clock doesn't stop. The days don't wait, and every moment you spend stuck in fear, doubt, or hesitation is a moment you'll never get back. Too many people waste their lives waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for things to get easier, waiting for someone to give them permission to go after their dreams. But let me tell you something, if you keep waiting, life will pass you by. Some people spend years talking about what they want to do, but never take a single step. They say, one day I'll start my business. One day I'll chase my dream. One day I'll change my life. But one day never comes because they never decide to start. They let fear talk them out of action. They let self-doubt keep them stuck. They convince themselves they're not ready, not qualified, not good enough. And before they know it, years have passed, and they're still in the same place, telling the same story. But here's the truth, you don't have to have it all figured out to begin. You don't need to know every step of the journey before you take the first one. You just need to start. Because progress doesn't come from thinking about change, it comes from action. I know it's scary. I know stepping into the unknown feels uncomfortable. I know the thought of failure can be overwhelming. But what's even scarier? Waking up 5, 10, 20 years from now, realizing you never even tried. Regret is heavier than failure. Regret will keep you up at night, wondering what could have been if you had just been brave enough to start. So many people wait for the right time, but let me tell you, there is no perfect time. There will always be obstacles. There will always be reasons to wait. But you have to decide that where you're going is more important than where you are. You have to stop waiting for everything to be perfect and start with what you have. Maybe you don't feel ready, but do it anyway. Maybe you're afraid you'll fail, but try anyway. Maybe you don't have all the resources, but start with what you've got. Because the truth is, every great success story started with someone who wasn't ready, but took a step anyway. Every person who has ever achieved something great had moments of doubt, but pushed through anyway. You have greatness inside of you. You have potential beyond what you can imagine. But potential means nothing if you don't take action. So today, make a decision. Decide that you will no longer sit on the sidelines of your own life. Decide that you will stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. Decide that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes, no matter what obstacles come your way, you will keep moving forward. Because life isn't waiting for you, it's happening right now, and the time to start is today. My friends, life is too short to stay stuck in the same cycle of frustration, doubt, and hesitation. You were not created to live in fear, to be defined by your struggles, or to keep telling the same story of why things aren't changing. You have the power to rewrite your future, to shift your focus, to step beyond your excuses, and to start walking toward the life you were meant to live. It won't always be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments when you feel like giving up. But remember this, you are stronger than your struggles, greater than your fears, and more capable than you know. Your past does not define you. Your mistakes do not control you. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the decision to start. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop letting fear talk you out of your purpose. Start today, start now, and never look back. Because your future is waiting, and I believe in you. Good luck, and thank you.